Alright, so in the previous video, we created the home page for our application. But in this video, we're going to create the create post page so we can actually create some posts. Hold on just one second. I am offering free coaching to those of you who need help in JavaScript development, Flutter development, and most front-end or full-stack JavaScript frameworks. If you're not opposed to receiving some help, message me through Discord at 8dang. I'll be sure to include my tag below, but remember, I might not be able to help with everything, but I'll try my best. But with that out of the way, let's get back into the video. So, the first thing we're going to do is before we get into any code, we're going to run the command npm run dev, and in a new terminal instance, we're also going to open up the PocketBase folder. And then we're going to run /PocketBase serve. So then we can close these terminals. And now in the app folder, we could create a new folder called new. And inside of here, we're going to create two files, one called pluspage.server.ts and the other one called pluspage.svelte. So right here, at first, we're going to edit the pluspage.server.ts file. So at first, we're going to import all the things that we're going to need. And then we're going to create a load function that gets access to the locals. So in the locals, it allows us to access the auth store for the admin and also the user. So now we check if auth store is not valid. So if they're not logged in, or if they are not a valid user, we redirect them back to the authentication page. And if they do have all of these properties, like if they are a valid user, then we could just return them. We can let them into the page. So then right here, we're going to create an action. So now in this file, we're only going to create one action, and that's going to be the new post. And we're going to get access to the request to get access to the form data, obviously, and the locals to get access to the auth store. So then we're going to get access to the auth model, and we're going to validate it, checking to see if it's actually a validated user and if they are actually logged in. So now we're going to get the form data. We're going to get all the properties that we need. Then we're going to set a temporary variable called post ID, which we're going to use as a reference when we're going to go outside of the try catch block. So you see, let's create a try catch block. In this try catch block, I want to return some data, but I want to make sure that this post ID is separate from the try catch block because I want to redirect the user to something else. And inside the try catch block, you can't redirect the user. So then inside the try block, let's validate to make sure that the properties are actually strings and that they are actually valid. By the way, you could check out the link in the description to my GitHub just in case you need help following through or you can't just be coding as fast as possible. But right here below this, we're going to get the parse tags. So we're going to parse the tags because everything that gets passed from us from the form data is a string. So then we're going to check if it's actually an array. Then we're going to create a temporary tags object, a temporary tags array, and then we're going to loop over the parse tags, making sure that each tag in the loop is a string. And if the validated tags already includes one of these tags, then it's duplicate, so we can't have that. So we're going to throw a new error and not letting the user go through. And if everything goes according to plan, we push this tag right here into the validated tags. So now we know that the tags are all strings and that there are no duplicates. So we're making sure to see that there are no more than 10 tags per post. And then we're going to create a new post with all of the metadata that we need. So then we're going to assign the post ID to the record.id. So we create the post and we assign the post ID to the record.id. So now if there's any errors, we're going to log it and we check if it's an instance of error and we just pass back the message. And if it's not, we just say a default message. And now as I said, if the post ID is a string, at least if it's not null, then we're going to redirect them to the post page that it actually corresponds to. Now, if the post ID is not a string, so if something wrong happened, we're going to throw redirect. So now we could close this file and let's open up the pluspage.svelte file. All right, so once you have this file open, we're going to create a script with the language property set to TS, and we're going to import the necessary things that we need, and we're going to get access to the data, which is basically this layout data that we served right here. So if you see my previous video, which I'm going to link up right now, or I linked up in the beginning of the video, we created this load function that applies to all of the routes inside of the app folder that allows us to get access to the auth model. And you see we get access to that data right here. You see auth model is a user undefined and authenticated is a boolean. And let's get some form data inputs, and these correspond to the ones inside the form action. So in the Svelte head, we're gonna we're gonna create the title for the post. We're gonna create the title for this page, and then we're gonna create an article. And inside here, we're gonna create a form with the class of main and the action set to the action that we created previously. So then we're gonna use the useEnhance function, or the useEnhance action, to append the tags to the form data, because honestly, the tags, I couldn't get it to work semantically with HTML, so I had to append them afterwards. So that's how it works. So then we're going to create a header for this form, and we're going to divide this header between the content, and inside the first input container, we're going to have the input trying to see that the title. So now we're going to input the title for the user, and then another input container for the language. And instead of an input is going to be a select. We're going to allow these choices, and you could add these choices according to the ones that are valid with highlight.js, but I found that these are all the ones that are most prominent. So and below, we're going to create another input container, which is just going to be for the code, and it's just going to be a normal text area, nothing too special. And one more input container that's going to be for the tags, and we're going to create a form that prevents default, so we're not going to re-render the whole page every time we submit this form that's inside this other form. So then we're going to check to see if the tags is a duplicate, or if the tags input is an empty string, or the tags length is over the 10. So we're just making sure to see if the tags are actually valid. So then if they are, we're going to append the new tag to the tags, and we're going to set the current tag input to an empty string. So then inside of here, we're going to create an input, and we're going to bind the value of the tag input, so we can always make sure that this tag input is always up to date with the value inside of this input. And then we're going to create a button just saying add tag, allowing us to submit this data. So then inside of here, we're going to create a tags container, which allows us to display the different tags that we have. And we're going to create it as each block, so it allows us to loop over the tags as we're creating them. And this else block allows us to see that if there are no tags to loop over, then we can just display a message. So then right here, for each one of these tags, we're going to create a tag element, and it's going to display the tag input, and it's just going to have a button that allows us to remove it. And by default, we're just going to display some text saying that please enter at least one tag for your post. So if there's no tags, we're going to allow this text to be rendered. So then right here, we're going to create a button with the variant primary, and conditionally, we're going to be disabling this, so we're not going to be able to submit it if the form data is not valid. So then let's create a style tag. Let's style the article so that it is aligned vertically. And the article is going to be aligned horizontally, and the main is going to be aligned vertically with some extra styles, for example, the border, etc. And then we're going to allow the styles for the header elements, the divider, the input container, which is just going to be a vertically aligned container with some gap in between the items. And we're going to style the input text area and select so that they look custom and they look good. And below this, let's style the tag form so that it is aligned horizontally. The text container, same thing, aligned vertically, but with some gap in between each of these tags. And now let's style the tag elements. So you see that they're pretty simple. We're going to add some borders, some background, form size, and display a flex. And we're going to style the button. By the way, like I said before, I don't care if I'm repeating myself, but you can find all this code in the link in the description. And now let's style the iconify icon. So the icons are going to be 16 pixels width and height. And if there are no tags, we're going to style it so that the message has an opacity of 0.7 or 70%. So now we can close this file, and now let's open up the terminal, and let's go to localhost. As you see, I'm logged in already, but because I haven't created the settings page or the profile page, I can't really see which account I'm logged into. So now let's create a new post, and let's title it test, and let's say this for TypeScript, and say const test is equal to new post, and then we're gonna create a new line saying console.log test, and then we're gonna create a comment saying this is a new post. And now let's add a tag saying whatever you want. New post. Wait, and let's remove this because that was a typo. New post, and let's say add, right? And now we're gonna post the code snippet, and you see that since we haven't created the post page, we can't really render them out yet. But if we go to home, you see that we see it. And we could delete it, but we haven't created the delete form. We're going to create that in a future video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this video served you value. I hope you're looking forward to my future videos. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about these fast-paced videos. I'll see you in the next one.